What's good, guys? Prince Sports here. Drink the coffee and make you feel better. Now, I want to get into young buck, Anthony Edwards, disrespecting generations of basketball and trying to prop up your own generation. Now, this is when you know you in trouble and you need to put other people down just to prop up your generation because a lot of the aspects to it is suspect and flimsy. Anthony Edwards said Michael Jordan was the only skilled player of his era. Absolutely 100% incorrect. Tim Hardaway had some of the best dribbles of all time. Rod Strickland. Magic Johnson was ahead of his time. He was one of the greatest point guards, if not still the greatest point guard of all time. A walking triple-double. That's a skill set. He could do it all. Magic Johnson could score, he could rebound, he could pass. And did I say he could pass, which was one of his greatest skill sets ever? That's a skill set. Okay? Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the most skilled big men ever, especially when it comes to post-up moves. Some of your players that play in your generation, Anthony Edwards, go and get points and learn how to score from fucking Hakeem Olajuwon. You want to talk shooting threes? Well, Dan Marley, Chris Mullin, they were shooting threes from half court before Steph Curry. That's a skill set. Number two, Allen Iverson, drafted in the 90s. One of the best ball handlers of all time. Isaiah Thomas, one of the best ball handlers of all time, and one of the best little man basketball players ever, a champion, two-time champion, is skilled. You may want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And let me tell you something about yourself, Anthony Edwards. If you was playing in the 80s and 90s, you wouldn't have the skill set you have today. You wouldn't even have the offensive freedom that you have. Chances are, even if you are an all-star, you'd be just another Michael Jordan victim. You're shorter than Jordan, so you've been a Jordan victim. You wouldn't have the freedom to do Euro steps, step backs. And guess what? You wouldn't be shooting a three with the freedom that you have today. All right? So,
the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Here's the problem that you idiots make when you're trying to downgrade the past. You have to factor in that you will be downgraded once you come to the past. You can't bring 4K to the 1990s. It don't exist. Can't bring an iPhone to the 1990s, man. It don't exist. But what you can bring is whatever was relevant at that time. Now, here's what you could do. You could uplift. Absolutely, 100%. Uplift something that was great in the past and give it a shiny new look and say, hey, you have more freedom to do certain things. This is how I know Michael Jordan would dominate your era, Anthony Edwards. This is how I know Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, every single player that played before you would dominate your fucking era because they'd be upgraded. Just like you would be upgraded when the 2040s come around, right? Because you would be considered the past. And let me take this into factor. You trying to disrespect the past just to try to uplift yourself, and you're only going to give, the only guy you're going to give credit to and props to is Michael Jordan, you're flat out wrong, because this is a propaganda that a lot of people in the media try to do. They want to downgrade somebody's competition just to try to make one person of their generation look real good, and you know who that is, right? So you can miss me with that bullshit, all right? Because even the players that played before you, all right, the guys from the Renaissance era, the Oscar Robertsons, what you think Oscar Robertson would be if he growed up in today's era, generation, with the freedom that he would have, all right? He wouldn't be dribbling basketball the same way that he dribbled it in the 70s or 60s. He would have more freedom. He'd be a complete different basketball player. Matter of fact, he'd be an even more dominant basketball player because he would have offensive freedom that you guys so slowly grant to damn near every basketball player. Why you think you got European players out here disrespecting you guys in your own era, calling you guys soft? Because they know School of Hard Knocks was the era of the 90s and 80s. You cannot take that away. That was a fucking fact. When you had to walk around with your hands on your nuts and be a real man. Not walk around with fucking tight pants and being woke. Because that's half of your whole generation now. You got men pretending to be fucking women and women being more masculine than fucking men. That's the generation you live in, Anthony Edwards. That's not the generation I'm from. Learn the difference. You would have got knocked on your ass in the 80s and 90s. And you would have to put your hands up. That was the fucking era in the generation. You could look at it in its entirety from the hip hop, from the way people live. It wasn't just basketball. It was the whole fucking era. All right? It was the tough guy era. The man era. Something you probably wouldn't know about. But check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right? Because if you played in the 80s and 90s, you may just be a fucking role player. Yeah, I said it. You might just be a fucking role player. The only guys that would have been superstars in the 80s and 90s are guys that are superstars now. Something you not. All right? LeBron James' greatness transcends to any era. He'd have been a superstar in any era of basketball. But that means the same thing for the Kobe's and Jordans as well. You big dummy. Sports out. Peace.